Well done, everyone, especially those of you who are new to meditation today. Some very young meditators still managed a whole half an hour just now. It's pretty good going. So I'll just finish off today before I take some questions, just to say that the full moon is a special occasion for us to meditate. In the olden days, it was believed that the full moon night is a particularly fruitful time to practice meditation, almost like there's a special energy around there for the having, if only we can tune our mind to be peaceful enough to pick up on that energy. And one very ancient proverb from the Buddhist tradition compared the full moon to a person who was previously careless, but the moment they stop being careless in their lives, then they start to illuminate the world, just like the full moon coming out from behind the clouds. And this month we come to the August full moon, which is the code name, the Sturgeon full moon. And the sort of theme for the full moon of August is connecting with the wider world at large. In fact, we've been working our way through all the full moons, which all have their special little names. Most recently, the buck moon, and before that, the strawberry moon. And we make our way to the sturgeon moon tonight, which has several special features which are probably worth commenting on. First of which is the fact that it is a supermoon. Super referring to the size. And if you want to get technical, then when the moon goes around on its fairly elliptical orbit, sometimes it comes closer to the Earth. And when it's closer, then it looks a little bit larger. It's actually quite a lot closer in sort of astronomical terms. It's like 25,000 miles closer at the perigee. So that makes it a little bit larger. And apparently, we are in for 4 supermoons in a row, starting with this one, and over the next 3 months, it's going to look larger the whole of the time. Yes, our corn moon coming up, also hunters and beaver moon, yeah. It's also been termed a blue moon, although I'm not quite sure how accurate that is, or maybe they just like thinking up words for things. But blue moon refers to the fact that it's quite a rare thing that we have full moons this season. Yeah, in the olden days it used to be a little bit harder to get a blue moon. It had to actually be blue, and that actually comes from the expression once in a blue moon, where Krakatoa blew up and filled the whole atmosphere of the Earth with dust for a whole month, and the moon was blue for the whole month. Yeah, and the whole temperature of the Earth dropped by 0.6 degrees as well, but that was back in 1883. It was pretty destructive, but quite cool to watch from anywhere else, except Indonesia, yeah. So we have quite a special full moon, and apparently having both a full moon and a new moon, which is supermoon, is actually quite a rare phenomenon. You won't get it again for another 20 years, so enjoy, yes. But celebrating the sturgeon full moon has been recommended to be celebrated with full moon rituals, like our little ritual here, setting good intentions for the whole month, transforming yourself to align with the times, and honoring the cycle of nature, celebrating achievements, and also planning for changes ahead in your life, as well as finding your footing and making waves on your own terms. So letting go of your fears and growing into the person you want to be. So that's me doing my little bit of astrology for all of you tonight. And just reminding you that apart from the sturgeon moon, which refers to quite a rare now fish, which used to be in the Great Lakes in more abundance at this time of the year, and now probably less so because it's been fished almost to extinction. But that is the origin of the August full moon's main name. And apart from that, it's known as the harvest moon, both by the Dakota tribe and also in China. If you happen to be into Chinese culture, you can look for the mooncakes about this time of the year to celebrate the harvest moon there. We're not quite harvesting things here yet, but in China they are harvesting things. And in the meantime, you have these cool mooncakes with sometimes nice fillings to entertain you in the meantime. It's also known as the moon of the ripening by the Lakota tribe. Grain moon is more of the Anglo-Saxon one, so not yet ready for harvest, but certainly getting a little bit more grainy. Sometimes the corn moon or green corn moon for Algonquin and Ojibwe tribes. Corn is in the silk moon for the Ponca tribe. Black cherries moon for the Sioux and Assiniboine tribes. Plum moon for the Shawnee tribes. Feather shedding moon for the Passamaquoddy tribe, and these are more in the southern hemisphere, I think. Geese shedding their feathers, moon for the Arapaho tribe. Also, young ducks begin to fly, moon for the Cree, dry moon for the Catawba tribe, drying up moon, probably somewhere around here, Cherokee tribe, hot moon, Tunica and Shoshone tribe, and the red moon, or lightning moon, Europe and the Neo-Pagans, and going into the far north, Mountain Shadows moon, and southern hemisphere, where of course it's colder, snow moon, hunger moon, or storm moon. For ourselves, there are plenty of things to celebrate this month. One which you may have missed is actually World Meditation Day back on August the 6th. It was decided to commemorate that as World Meditation Day because it also marks Hiroshima Day for obvious reasons. But also a more commercial World Meditation Day seems to have emerged in the meantime on the 21st of May, but I just mentioned that in passing. I'm not sure what the reason for having the 21st is. But certainly in our temple on the first Sunday of the month of August, we do get together to meditate in large numbers. Getting monks from different denominations to come meditate together. This is our main temple in Thailand. And even the lay people all dress in white and come to meditate in large numbers too, in order to set the vibe that will lead the world closer to peace so that there are no more Hiroshimas. And in other places around the world, also the full moon is celebrated in Sri Lanka, especially in the city of Kandy. They have something called a perahera, or procession, where they take the relics around for a full 10 days around the city. Pretty incredible, really. And they have elephants lit up with candlelights, probably LEDs these days, but I think the elephants must be exceedingly patient to go around the city for 10 days at night, carrying honorary relics and stuff with them. And of course they drum quite a lot as well. If you go to Sri Lanka and think you're going to get a peaceful temple to meditate in, you may be disappointed because they will drum the whole time, which is generally not so easy to meditate to. Apart from that, also this month we are celebrating the ordination day of our main teacher in the Dhammakaya tradition, in the present day, the Venerable Dhammachayo. It's on the 28th of August, but we are celebrating it here on the 24th. So apart from that, for those of you who were new to meditation today, I would like to recommend that you try to remember the method you've been taught this evening and meditate further at home to get the full benefits. If you can start off with 20 minutes a day, that will be a good sort of length of time to sort of cement into your daily schedule and routine, and then as you get more proficient and feel the inclination, you can build on 20 minutes. Less than that is good but not great, because generally If you have quite a lot of stress and strains from your daily life, then less than 20 minutes, you won't be through all the stress and strains yet before you get to the end of the meditation. So in order to get ahead of the stress and strains, generally 20 minutes or more would be good for your daily routine. Some people meditate first thing in the morning, some people meditate last thing at night, some people meditate in their lunch break, but if you can fit it in there somewhere, then you will start to get the benefits more and more. We have an app called MindGem, which is connected with these full moon events, which you can download, hopefully on iOS too, but certainly on Android at the moment for free. And it has about 200 tracks from the Venerable Daniel, from myself included in there too, of different lengths, and also a timer which you can meditate along with, even if you're not connected to the internet. If you have questions, then we have classes here on regular days of the week, every Thursday evening in the building just adjacent here, and every Sunday morning right here in this room. And generally the meditation is about 40 minutes long and comes with a sort of wisdom talk to help you to fit meditation into your daily life more fully. Also been asked to publicize an event coming up in Glendora at the weekend, so Sunday evening here, not here, but in the Lafetra building in Glendora. They're trying to get together all the different religions to showcase the advantages which they feel it brings to their lives and to the world. We're going along as the Buddhist reps, but there will be many other religions too, and they're expecting an audience of about 60 or 70 people there. It's free of charge, but apparently in Glendora they are not particularly great on inclusivity at the moment, and they're trying to remove that word from their policy statement. So we are trying to sort of get Glendora feeling a little bit more inclusive again. So if you want to go along and try to make sure that religion is in there as part of the equation, then you would be most welcome. Here we are also going to Azusa Library this Monday evening between 6:30 and 7:30, doing a little 1-hour meditation there in the auditorium of the library as well. We go deeper on Buddhism once a month with myself. Next one is on a Sunday afternoon on September the 8th. At the moment we are having a longer meditation, usually 1 hour long, and also we go deeper onto aspects of Buddhism based on the scriptures. Next full moon meditation is coming up on Tuesday, September the 17th, so corn moon if I remember correctly. Here again with Venerable Jackie and Venerable Daniel. And we also have kids event, although I think our particular kids didn't quite make it. Oh, that's a pity, didn't know about that. But yes, shorter for kids, as you may have guessed, usually no longer than 10 minutes meditation. The kids come along and help out with the almsgiving on a Saturday, every third Saturday of the month. The next one coming on September the 21st. They have lunch together, usually bring along some stuff which they like to share with their friends, and then a short meditation and Buddhist story and discussion. After that, if they want to stay on, they can learn Thai as a second language, and we also are training the kids to be temple guides, to lead newcomers around the temple and give a guided tour. Or if you want to come along and be given a guided tour by those kids, you're welcome to come along at 3 p.m. every third Saturday of the month. Our next outdoor event, so hopefully things will cool down a little bit by next month, will be on Saturday, September the 28th. And we are registering at 6:30 p.m. for the 7:30 start. Hopefully we can light the candles outdoors and it will align with the sunset as well. So those are other activities which you can look forward to coming up very soon in our meditation center. So at this time, I think I'll open up for any comments, feedback, or questions which you might have, which you might like to ask in front of everyone else, or if you feel shy, I'll be around later in case you want to ask more personal questions. Yeah.
Next, we will continue with Q&A session with Venerable Nicholas. For anyone who would like to ask a question or share your experience, please raise your hand and we'll come around with the microphone.
Don't be shy.
Venerable Nicholas, we did get one question in beforehand. When should we try to sit through discomfort versus adjust our posture while meditating?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting question there, because discomfort which we get in meditation, it can lead us to wonder whether to just sort of write it out, or whether all that the Venerable Daniel was saying about comfort being so important, whether we should try to get comfortable instead. Some people are left in a quandary about what they should do once they start feeling this pain or discomfort. So basically, I explained to my students that there are probably 3 scenarios for pain or discomfort which you might experience during your meditation. First one is discomfort or pain that comes from unfamiliarity with sitting still for long periods of time. So let's say you've meditated for 20 minutes and you try to up your time to half an hour, then after 20 minutes you start to feel discomfort because you're not used to it. So in such a case as that, sometimes it can be beneficial to sit through the pain to get yourself used to sitting still for longer, and then you can build up your time meditating. So that's one scenario where you might want to sit through the discomfort. Second one is when you feel that that pain or discomfort is doing you serious damage, like you happen to have back problems anyway, and now your back is like really feeling bad, then that might be a good opportunity to adjust your position, because otherwise then it may not do you any good at all. So that might be an occasion where you realize that the pain is more than just discomfort from unfamiliarity. So in that case, you should adjust yourself in order to get more comfortable. A third one, which is an interesting one, which sometimes happens to people not when their meditation is going badly, but when it's actually going quite well, is the sort of pain that sneaks up on you, almost like tricks which your mind is playing on you when your meditation is going well. And a favorite sort of pain which I have experience of myself, which tends to come in the form which is the pain I hate the most, which is mosquitoes coming to bite you when you are just getting to a really good place in your meditation. You wouldn't believe it. They don't come when your meditation is going badly, but just when your mind is getting peaceful, you get these mosquitoes coming. It's amazing. And of course, because we are so compassionate and like we're Buddhists and all that, and we have to be kind to living beings of all sorts, we don't want to harm the mosquito. In fact, we might actually welcome giving a little blood donation for the mosquito while we are doing our meditation, because like generosity is good, right? But then you feel, oh, it's like lining up its little proboscis, so it's going to get a really deep stab into my arm here, and then you can't tolerate it anymore, and you take a little sneak peek at this huge mosquito which is trying to bite you, and what do you discover? There's nothing there. It's all your imagination playing tricks on you. But it succeeded in putting you off your meditation because you paid too much interest to it. So in that case, when you get those pains creeping up on you, usually in the form that scares you the most, when you are at a good place in your meditation, again we come back to ignoring the pain, because generally it is just your mind playing tricks on you, and it will go by itself. So in such a case there, you pretend you're not interested and it will solve the problem by itself. So one case where you sit through it, another case where you adjust yourself, and a third one where you pretend you're not interested. Yeah. So you have to work out for yourself what sort of pain or discomfort am I dealing with. Yeah.
I was curious to know, what is the longest you've meditated, and what was that experience like?
Oh my. So we're talking marathon meditations? We have such a thing called all-nighters. Yeah, it's hard to believe. We don't usually emphasize like quantity. We go more for like the quality side. So that is the longest I've meditated personally, like all night, where you're really struggling with your sleepiness. No, it's not the pain anymore, it's like the sleepiness. So it's maybe good to learn about your own limits in such a way. Really, such long meditations are only beneficial to a person whose mind is really in a good place. Otherwise, it just becomes a physical struggle. And generally, I would recommend trying to build up to 1 hour of meditation as a good unit to sort of scale your meditation time to. On retreats, we try to push it a little bit further than that, but usually we don't get much past an hour. And for the sort of people who do meditation research, like the Venerable Daniel who joined us earlier, they generally sit for blocks of 3 hours of meditation, where they try to stay still for that time to really let their mind settle towards the latter hours of the meditation. But generally 1 hour, I think, would be this sort of a good unit to aim for. Yeah.
Experience.
So the mind it accumulates this sense of peace and quiet, and what I think you could look to expect is the thoughts, which before were quite numerous, will get gradually thin out more and more to the point where you get a state in your meditation known as the standstill of the mind, which doesn't mean your mind just freezes or something, but the actual thoughts come to a stop. And at that point it gets particularly interesting meditation, because your mind can go deeper then, beyond the thoughts, to some of the things which you might call by names such as your intuition or your subconscious mind, or perhaps your gut feelings. You get more in touch with those because the thoughts are no longer in the way. They no longer block your access to those deeper faculties of the mind. So I think that's what you could aim for. If not, you get it the first time round, but little by little you get it easier and closer to that state. Yeah. So a standstill of the mind.
Anyone else?
So what is your suggestion if someone sits to meditate and then during the meditation they realize their body is just so exhausted that they start to fall asleep? What is your suggestion? Just to stop the meditation or continue the meditation?
So yes, the whole question is really about the hindrance of sleepiness. And sometimes you can fight it, and sometimes you're fighting a losing battle. So the first thing really you should be asking yourself, also rather similar to the pain, is this something I can deal with here and now? Sometimes you find yourself just nodding, in which case actually you can usually turn that around into something useful in your meditation. Because if you're a little bit sleepy, it's like you're not trying too hard. And if you can just catch yourself at the moment when you're nodding off, often that puts you in a very advantageous place in your meditation. It's like a little twilight zone where you're not trying too hard, but your mind is doing its own thing, and you're not asleep. So if you can get to that place, sometimes you can use your sleepiness to good effect. But if you really are just like falling asleep the whole time, you sit for an hour, you're just nodding for the whole hour, sometimes it might be better to go and have a nap and then come back to the meditation where you're feeling more refreshed. And that would probably be a better use of your time. Not just like have a nap and not meditate anymore, but like come back to the meditation when you're feeling more refreshed. So some people, like, they meditate when they come straight home from work, when they're just feeling at a low energy level anyway. Sometimes that may be a little bit of a unproductive time to meditate. So it might be good to have a little nap or have refreshing something or other first, some exercise perhaps, and then come to the meditation might be a little bit more productive. Yeah. So ask yourself whether it's a battle you can win or not.
Is this why they recommend you meditating before you go to sleep?
That's more for people who have problems sleeping. So there's people at the other end of the spectrum, which is like they can't go to sleep even if they try. And that would be the meditation before going to sleep, would be particularly effective for the insomniacs of the world, because it's like it prepares the ground for you to have a restful night's sleep. So that would be the other pole of the sleep problem, yeah.
Anybody else? Okay. I have a question. I was reading an article where they were saying that meditation, and I think we had this discussion before, I'm not sure. Mindfulness somehow is better than meditation. They were having that discussion. It was an online article. But what is the difference between mindfulness and meditation?
So the simplest way to explain the distinction between the two is meditation is generally where you have your eyes closed and you're focusing your mind inwardly without doing any other activities. So you're like 100% on working with your mind. Mindfulness, on the other hand, is using the same qualities of mind, so focus and calm, but when you have your eyes open and you're doing other things. So it's like when you're multitasking, you're trying to do something mindfully, like sweeping your backyard. You could be doing that mindfully if you have your mind centered and relaxed, but you have your eyes open doing another activity, usually a physical activity. So as to what is better, is meditation better than mindfulness? Actually, the ideal thing to do is to cultivate both of them hand in hand. So as your meditation improves, your capacity for mindfulness will be increased so that you can be mindful in many other activities. And if you're able to do that, then it feeds back into your meditation to make it better. So the ideal thing to do is to have two. When you have your eyes open, you're doing mindfulness. When you have your eyes closed, you're doing meditation.
Yeah, I always viewed meditation as kind of like a passive mindfulness, not like a more active mindfulness, more of a passive mindfulness. But you're saying that they are separate things.
They are only separated by the context in which you do them.
Okay.
But really, they use the same qualities. It's just a question of whether you're doing one thing or several things at once. But it's made more confusing by the fact that someone has called a sort of meditation mindfulness meditation. So if you're doing mindfulness meditation, it's like you get both at once. Really, I think mindfulness
yoga.
and meditation are things which you find in every sort of meditation.